Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is the video that you guys requested. Study tips, how to study effectively, how to prepare, and how I'm prepared. So first of all, before exam preparation, well for that, the first thing is time record. Like there are lots of techniques, like Pomodoro timer. Well, that one personally just doesn't work on me because like after studying for 25 minutes and after taking a break for 5 minutes, I just can't restart the cycle again. Like I get distracted a lot, so I just can't restart it again. Well, that's for me, but you guys should try it out, like whether it works on you or not. Like you guys should try it out because that's a really good technique, like both for our studying and also for our health. We should get some rest too, so yeah, you should try it out. And like as I said before, it doesn't work on me, so what I did was that I started recording my total study hours, like on each subject and for the whole day. And like I just started recording those study hours, and I just make a plan, and I recorded it every day, every single day, and I make my target study hours, like for example average 8 hours a day, like to study for the exam. That's a really good technique because like I make a plan and I record it every day, so whenever I look back those things again, like I feel so proud of myself. I just look and I think like, oh, I try so hard, I'm trying so hard. I always got motivated from that, and my productivity just go high like that. So yeah, it's a good thing to record our study hours, like both to motivate ourselves and also to record our progress. That's a really good technique, and that really works for me, so you guys should try it out that too. So the second thing is to have a firm plan. Like you guys should know which subjects you guys are going to study the next day. Like if you guys don't know, like yeah, if you guys have no idea about which subjects to study, you guys would be just wandering on the desk and just wasting your time, so that's not good. You guys should have the plan in advance, like should prepare the resources that you needed to revise the subjects, and you guys should make sure you know what you're going to do the next day. So a firm plan is necessary. It's really important. It's a crucial thing to have. Third one is to reflect on yourself. You guys should know when you guys are the most productive. Like for instance, for me, I am a night owl, so I always study at night because like that's when the ambience is so tranquil and that makes me concentrate better. So I just like studying at night. So you guys also should find out when you guys are most productive and when you guys could concentrate better. And the next step is that you should know the subjects you are most confident in. Like by finding out the subject you are most confident in, you could make the plan better. For instance, like you could think of how many hours you will study for that specific subject today, and how many hours you will give to another subject. Like you can consider about it. So you guys should know the subjects where you're most confident in, and also know the subjects that you are weak in. That's how it works. Like the study plans would be better if you know about that. So the another thing is that, as I said before, you guys should find out which study methods work for you. Like there are so many study methods on TikTok, right? But don't waste your time just finding out and trying out everything, and in the end like nothing works for you. Don't waste your time doing that. Just think of yourself, like you know yourself better, right? You know yourself better. You should also know which study methods would work for you. Just don't waste your time doing and trying out every method that you see on TikTok. So the next one is how to study effectively. So like for first of all, in general, for all the subjects, the first thing that you guys should do is list the chapters you're weak in. Like you should rate it and you should list down the chapters. Like by doing that, you guys should know which chapters you guys should work in. So that would be a really good idea. So first up, list the chapters that you guys are weak in. Second step is that read all the chapters carefully. Like, don't just leave out or miss out anything, just read all. Read those chapters again and again repeatedly, because course book really help us in our exam. Like, everything just related to the textbook. Like, if we keep reading on those chapters again and again, like for instance, like I felt like I knew everything about the subject, and I kind of understand better and better each time I read those books. So yeah, reading those course books was really a good help for me at the time. So you guys should also try it out. And the third thing is do the topical past papers. Like read the chapter and do the past paper from that chapter, like not the whole past paper, just topical past paper. And by doing that, like you could know whether you are okay with that chapter or not. Like if you are not still doing good in that chapter, you should restart it again by reading the course book again, and then do the past papers again, do the questions, do the practice test, and in that way you would see a big progress for sure. I guarantee that. And another thing is you should write down your slips. Like every time you make a mistake, make sure you write down your slips and you make some notes, and like to remind yourself not to make that mistakes again and to learn from the experience. Like for instance, I always wrote down my careless mistakes on the notebook, and before the exam, like I could just read those notes again and I could remind myself not to make those mistakes again. That's really that was also a really good help. So you should try it out. And another thing is write some crucial notes. Like if you couldn't write lots of notes, it's okay, but make sure you wrote some crucial notes. By that you could just scan and you should just read those notes before the exam. So yeah. So as I am talking about how to study effectively, now I'm gonna go into details. Well, as you guys have already known, I took 6 subjects in total: additional mathematics, extended maths, first language English, business, accounting, and economics. So now I'm gonna tell in details about how to study each subject effectively. So first of all, maths, additional maths. So for that subject, I don't know about others, but for me personally, I am weak in the last chapter, kinematics. So like at the time, what I did was that I just read the course book again and again. Like you guys would think like it's mathematics, you shouldn't read those course book and learn by heart, but what I mean was that you guys shouldn't learn by heart for sure. Yeah, I also didn't do that. I just read the course book to know how the exam structure and how the questions are like. By just looking through the course book, we could know that. And like I look those work example and I find out like the exam style questions. Like for instance, what I did was that I looked through that chapter and I looked the formulas, the equations, and I looked through the worked example questions, and then after that I did exam style questions from that chapter. Well, and then only after that I continue to do lots of topical past papers. You guys should do some topical past papers after revising one by one chapter, each chapter. So that's really a good help. And then like only after revising every chapter, you guys should try out the whole past papers. The whole past paper, you guys should try out those, and then after doing those past papers again and again, you guys would also know like which chapter you guys are still weak in. After finding out that, you should go back to the chapter and practice that chapter specifically again. So that's how the cycle and how the process works for the additional mathematics. Okay, so for another subject, extended maths, for that subject, like rather than listing the chapters you guys are weak in or not, like you should just do some past papers a lot again and again. Like just do all, and only after doing that you would know the topics that you are weak in. And only after that you should go back to that topic again and work on that chapter again. That's really a good process to study effectively. Like if we just go through all the topics again for e-maths, we won't finish before the exam, for real. Like there are lots of topics, there are lots of small topics a lot in e-maths. So you should just go through past papers, and you should go back to the topic specifically again only after finding out that you're weak in that topic. So for instance, for me, I am weak in probability. Like it's not like weak, it's like I'm not confident in probability. Like I'm scared for those questions. So I started doing lots of topical past papers for that topic, that probability. So for e-maths, the advice I could give is just study those past papers a lot repeatedly. Like don't be lazy to study those things, because the consequence is just a lot. So yeah, make sure you know which topic you're weak in by doing those past papers a lot, and then only after that go back to that chapter. And also, like by doing those past papers a lot, you could know which topic frequently pop out. So that also helps us a lot in our exam. So the another subject is EFL, English First Language. Well, for that subject, the only way to improve and to have a progress is to read a lot, and to write a lot to read a lot and to write a lot, of course. Like, and also make sure you do the past papers, even though if your English skills are so high, and if you don't do past papers, like you couldn't get the marks that you deserve if you do like that. So the most important advice for the EFL is to do the past papers a lot. By that, you could know how the marking schemes work, how the exam structure is, how the question is, how the examiners want us to answer. Like the effects, for instance, like if they ask us about the writer's effect, we always used to write as I always used to write as I like. I didn't look any exam structure or other things, and I used to write as I like. And well, my marks were not that good at the time, because of course I am not answering the way they want. I'm just answering as I like. So yeah. And then before the exam, what I did? I started watching YouTube videos to get tips on EFL. Like there are lots of YouTube videos on that. They told us how to answer the specific questions. They told us the important notes, what to include, what not to do, and what to do, and how to prepare for the EFL. Like those videos really helped me a lot at that time. So you guys should try it out, and should change your writing style if needed for the EFL. And also, like, make sure you learn the new vocabs every day, and like your vocabulary range is wide before the exam. Make sure that just look through those YouTube videos and learn new vocabs every day, and make notes for EFL. Notes are really important. So for the another subject, business. For business, what I did was that I just read the course book again and again. I just read it again and again, and I remembered the facts and the points. Like rather than learning those terms and those points by heart, try to imagine the real business, and try to imagine like how the real business would work if it is in this position. So rather than just writing the theories again and again, I try to refer to the case study a lot, because like that's how the marks are given. So I always try to refer to the case study. So for instance, even though if I couldn't refer to the case study a lot, even though if the case study didn't give us lots of details, what I did was that I tried to rewrite the business names repeatedly again and again. Business exam is not the English test, so using the advanced vocabs are not important. What's important is that you using the business terms correctly, you referring to the case study, you pointing out the points correctly. That's what it is important in business test. So make sure you read the whole course book again and again. You understand the topics really well. Like, you just don't remember the theory. It's okay, you don't need to remember the theory. You just need to know how it works, how the topics work, you know. So like in that way, you could just answer any types of questions, you know. As you could encounter any types of questions, you will be ready to answer those questions if you understand the topics really well. So I recommend not to learn those theories by heart, but just try to understand the topics really well by reading the course book a lot, and do the past papers. Yeah, I also did lots of past papers, and after that I read the marking schemes and see whether my points are included in the marking schemes or not. You know, that's how I study for the business. Okay, so the important thing, the highlight one, is don't forget to refer to the case study. That's really, really important, and that's where the students always miss out. You know, that point was always missed out. So make sure you include the details from the case study, and you refer to the case study a lot, and you also use business terms. So in that way, you could carry the marks a lot, and you could get A star in business. For another subject, accounting. For accounting, you know, it was also a hard journey for me. You know, like for accounting, I was not really that good in accounting at first, initially, because like after studying one chapter and after moving on to the next chapter, I forgot the old one, you know. So like I revised the chapters again and again repeatedly. Like I don't even remember. Like I just study it again and again. And while studying accounting, like make sure you are not demotivated. Like it's okay if you forget. You would remember it one day. You know, it's okay if you forget. Don't be so demotivated. So just keep on trying again and again. If you forget, yeah, just revise it again. And like you read the chapter, you did topical past papers, you did the questions, you did the practice test, and you did the workbook. And then after that, you did the whole past papers, and you make sure you know how the marking schemes work for the writing questions in accounting paper 2. And like by that cycle, you could ace in accounting tests, you know. So that's how I did for accounting. I just read those chapters a lot. And yeah, the same with business. Don't try to learn the facts by heart. Just try to understand the topics well, so you could answer every questions. Trust me, you could answer every questions. Like even though if the questions are like so new to us, just so new, you could answer it perfectly if you understand the topics really well. So make sure you understand the topics really well, and make sure to practice the past papers a lot, and like be aware of your mistakes, you know, so you won't make the same mistakes again. And make sure you don't do careless mistakes, because in accounting, if you do careless mistakes, like your whole process would lose the marks. You know what I mean? Like if you make a mistakes initially, the other questions will also lose the marks as you get the wrong answer in the first question. Like if those questions are connected, I mean, if they are not connected, it's okay though. So yeah, make sure your calculations are correct. That's really important. So by that way, you could get A star in accounting. So for economics, what I did was that I just read the whole course book again and again repeatedly. Like, yeah, I did a lot for economics. So the advice for economics is that make sure you understand the course book really, really well, because course book really help us in the test, you know. Like there are lots of points in the course book, like but you know, like even if you read the whole course book, you should think when the questions appear to, you know. If you don't think, well, that's not how it works, you know. You should think, and you should try to connect those topics. It's really important to connect the topics. So, you know, make sure your answer and your writing style is really good. Like make sure you connect the topics really, really well, and make sure you answer the questions perfectly. Like don't just go too far. You know, if the questions asks you asks you in that topic, don't go too far and connect with other topics. Like you can do like that. Even if you want to connect, make sure like those are connectable. Is there a word like that? Well, I don't know. So like make sure you could connect those topics. You know what I mean is that don't go too far. So like for economics, I don't recommend to read the marking schemes, because if you do it, like your knowledge would be limited. You know what I mean? Like the marking scheme, you could, everything you think of would be just come from those marking schemes. And yeah, it's correct that you would get marks if you include the points from the marking scheme, but like your knowledge could be limited. So that's not how it works, you know. By reading the economic textbooks, you should think a lot. Like you should try to connect a lot as you could, but yeah, don't go too far. That's really important. So to make sure that you don't go too far and out of the content, you should read the chapter a lot. Yeah, so the key point is read the chapters a lot. Read the topics a lot, read the course book a lot. That's the point. You know, just make sure you understand the topics really well, and only after that try to write in the organized structure. You know, by that you could get high marks in economics too. Another thing is how to do past papers effectively. So you know, like before you do past papers, make sure you understand the topics really well. Like I know that I am saying this repeatedly, but it's really crucial. That's why, you know, make sure you understand the topics. Only after that do the past papers. You know, because past papers don't teach you to understand the topics. Instead, they let us know how the exam structures work. By doing the past papers, we could find out how the exam structure is, how the questions are like, and we could know how to answer it perfectly. So in order to answer the questions perfectly, we have to make sure we understand the topics really well in advance. So make sure you understand the topics really well, and only after that do the past papers. So like in doing past papers too, make sure you record the time, you know, make sure you record it and make sure you are within that limit, you know. So in the exam room, you could really manage your time carefully at that time. So you should record the time, you should record the marks, and you should record which past papers you have done. You should make the plan, and you know, like you should make that a chart, and by that you could review your progress every day by doing that. And also like always remember to look back the mistakes you make, and always check like why you make a mistake and why the correct answer is like that. Make sure you understand it. Like don't just overlook it, and you know, make sure you always go back to the mistakes and learn from the mistakes. And also don't ignore the right ones too. Like make sure you know how to answer it correctly. Make sure like you know why the answer is like that. Okay, that's really important. And another crucial thing is always quality over quantity. Okay, like for instance, for me, when I was doing past papers, like I just wanna do lots of past papers, you know, like I want to record it like I did 3 or 4 past papers a day. I wanted to record it like that, but I found out that it's always quality over quantity, because like even though if you did lots of past papers and there are lots of mistakes, that would be useless. So make sure you did past papers correctly, effectively, with all your effort. Like even though these papers are just for practice, answer it like you are in the real exam. That's really important. You know, if you practice like that, you would be really okay in the exam room, trust me. So yeah, always quality over quantity, and make sure you put your effort in practicing those past papers too. So this is the study tips, and I hope this video would be helpful for you all. So bye bye guys, let's meet again in my next video. Bye.